In today's tip, I'm talking to you about the toss. Having a bad toss can really be a deal breaker on your serve. So I'm going to show you a few things that will help you out. First, we have to get rid of the excess. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, I see a lot of players, they have elaborate motions. They come in like this, they come up like this, and they bring it down, and then they bring it back up before they go to toss. And I've seen a lot of different ways, but basically, if it does not help you on your serve, you need to cut it out. Surely, having a toss that comes up like this or a motion that comes up like this, it goes down abruptly and it comes back up again, that's a lot of movement on this arm. And when you have quick movement like that, it's going to be more difficult to have a consistent, reliable toss. So my recommendation for you is to drop your hands down here, okay? Just like I've showed you on the past videos, make sure that the racket is facing up. And the reason why we're going to do that is because I can get the ball to sit right in this frame right here. By doing that, now I have a stable, a reliable place to start my toss. And notice as the ball sits inside the frame, how I'm grabbing it. I have my 3 fingers right here. I'm going to have those on the bottom of the frame. My pointer finger and my thumb are actually holding the ball as I do this. So it kind of looks like this right here. Not kind of, it does, other than the fact that the ball is inside the frame. That's my setup, because why this is important. When I go from this position here and I go to toss my ball up, if you notice as the racket pulls away, so the racket pulls away, these 3 fingers, or these 2 fingers minus my pinky, are now holding onto the ball. And it goes from this position here, because my racket face is turned up, now I can just lift it directly up. Now notice how I'm lifting it up. Can you see this? These 3 fingers right here, okay, they are underneath the tennis ball. And then you have these 2 fingers, my thumb and my pointer finger, are actually holding on to the ball from a side-to-side tilt. So when I lift this, I'm not going to be coming in and flicking it like this off of my fingertips. I'm going to have it sideways, so it can't do that. And as I lift it, I just open up my hand. So again, I have these 3 fingers on the ball and my thumb. And now I come in here and I just simply pick it up. And as I pick it up like this, it will just leave my hand, okay? Why is that important? Well, it doesn't allow me to do things like flick the ball or allow my wrist to take control and pull the ball back. None of those things will happen. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of ways to toss a ball, but these are some of the things that I've figured out and that I've helped other players with that really does make a difference in their toss. Let me show you a couple examples. So here it is, my 2 fingers, my thumb and my index finger. My racket is sitting on my fingers like this here. And I'm going to go from here, and I'm going to simply lift up, okay? And I really don't struggle with my toss, and I never really have, and I don't know the exact reason to that, but maybe it's because of this. I've always tossed like this. I've just naturally gone into that. Now when I'm tossing, I'm taking my left arm, and I'm making sure that it is completely straight. Not only that, if you notice how this racket starts, and look, I'm not saying that you have to do it like this. I'm just giving you ideas on how to improve your toss. These are the things that great players, they incorporate into their game so their toss is reliable. Notice how my racket was sitting up. My arm is extended. My hands are down. Now that is important, because if I have my hands up here like this, what am I going to have to do? Well, I'm going to have to go from this motion right here. I'm going to have to swing it down, and then I'm going to have to swing it back up. So now all of a sudden I have motion going down and up, and that can make the toss sporadic. So what I need to make sure that I'm doing is I'm getting this arm low. Well, now I don't have any downward motion. I only have upward motion. That's going to make it a lot easier to get a great toss. So I'm right here, and now I lift. Well, I have this arm straight. If I allow there to be a bend, even if my hands are low, and I allow there to be a bend right here, the chances are that I'm going to use this elbow as a hinge. If I use this elbow as a hinge, what's going to happen? The arm is going to come towards me. What happens if the arm comes towards me? Well, now all of a sudden my ball is going to hook, and instead of taking a straight up and a straight down line, it's going to come in like this. And you've probably heard tosses like the J toss, where it comes in like this and it throws out into the court. You know, those are legitimate tosses, but that toss for sure is going to be more difficult. So if you're struggling with your toss, I mean, if you have no problems with your toss at all, then it doesn't matter. But if you're struggling with your toss, simplicity is going to make you more of a consistent player. So I come in like this. I have this arm locked, so I'm sure not to hinge it. And from that point right there, I'm going to start using this shoulder. As I lift up and I go in like this. Now again, notice how my hand is coming in on its side. So this part, my thumb and the top or the side of my hand here are what's pointed up to the sky. My palm is not pointed up to the sky. So I come in like this. I get ready to toss. Now as I go to toss, you got to figure out, where do you let go of this toss? Well, it has been proven that good tosses, good servers, they're letting go somewhere between their chin and their forehead. So what happens if I let it go too early and I let it go right here? Well, now the ball is going to go away from me. So it's going to start working towards the tennis court too far. So as I go to toss this, I got to make sure that I at least get up to my chin. Well, what happens if I toss it too high? Let's say the top of my head. Well, now all of a sudden it's coming in like this, and now I release it. That ball is going to start hooking behind me. So if you're constantly taking the ball behind you on the toss, or you're constantly taking the ball and having to catch it where it's too far out in front of you, you should understand that you're releasing it somewhere in the wrong area. Again, chin to forehead is where I want to release this. Let's take a look. Let's see if I do it. So I come in like this. I get the side of my hand. My arm is straight, and I release it. Well, we can slow that down and we can see exactly where it was, but I think that toss in general is somewhere right about this area. And then now we got to think about, what kind of serve am I trying to hit? Because if I'm trying to hit a specific serve, that toss is going to change. That's right, you heard me right. You will not have a toss that is always in the same location. Let me give you an example. What happens if I want to hit, let's say, a regular flat serve? So if I want to hit a regular flat serve, that toss is going to be out in front of me. So you can see that from this camera angle here. If I go to hit flat, look at where that's bouncing. That's bouncing inside the court. It's inside the line. That's going to drag me forward, and that's where I want a flat serve. Now from side to side, where is it going to be? Well, it needs to be off this left foot right here. So now when I go to toss this, I'm going to toss it out. Look at where it bounces. It bounces right in front of that left foot. Why is that important? I've got to make sure that when I'm hitting a flat serve, that I'm moving forward into the court, okay? And if I throw it too far off to my side, that will not be a flat serve. If I take that toss and I come out here like this, and I see that happen a lot, look at where this ball's bouncing. It's bouncing over here to my right. That is going to have some kind of side spin on it, because as the arm comes through that shot, it's going to slightly hook around because it's out here. It is not over me, okay? So that's going to be a flat serve. Well, what would happen if, let's say, I want to hit a slice serve? Now this is depending on what kind of slice, because I could hit an extreme slice that is telegraphed. And telegraphed means that my opponent can watch my service motion change, and they're going to pick up cues on where I'm serving. So if I were to hit a slice like that, I would get that toss way out here like this, and I would hook around it, and that would be a slice serve. I personally like to hit a slice serve where it is not telegraphed. So I'm going to keep my toss in exactly the area that would be a flat serve. So I'm going to keep it right through here. However, the change that I'm going to make is I'm going to toss it further out in front of me. So this would be a regular flat serve. Let's watch how far it goes out in front. So it's right about here, okay? And that ball is going to bounce inside the court. It's going to drag me in a little bit. Now when I go to hit a slice serve, especially a short angle slice serve, which is my favorite serve, I'm going to take it further out in front. So now let's watch it. Now look at where it bounces, okay? So it's about this much further out in front of me, and that's going to allow the angle to be a little bit stronger, and now I'm going to be able to hook that ball off to my left. So now that is 2 different locations for your toss. Now we're going to go into the kick serve, and you may not have a kick serve, but it's still, you need to know, you need to understand where these tosses change. So those first 2 tosses are out in front of me, and now my toss will actually change and it's going to go behind me. Let's watch how it does that. So I prepare the same way. I've got my arm straight, the side of my hand is coming up. Notice how it's inside the racket like that. I think that's stability. It's a good starting point. I'm going to take this and I'm going to toss it and I'm going to throw it. That was actually a bad toss. And I don't ever do a bad toss, but let's try it again. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to toss it right behind me. Look at where that ball bounces. Okay, it's bouncing just to the left of me or right behind my head. Where else is it landing? Well, it's landing in front of my shoulder. And it's landing in front of my shoulder because I need to still be moving into the tennis court, yet I'm going to hit a kick serve. So these are some of the things that you have to think about when you try to have a really good solid toss. Again, just a really quick review. Have a starting point that is simple, okay? That is down low, where you're not having to come up like this, drop down like this, and go back up. Do people do it? Yes, they do. But if you're struggling with your toss, you shouldn't do it. So let's take this down here like that. Let's get the racket inside, or the ball inside the racket, okay? We're holding it with our 2 fingers, and our 3 fingers are holding or being stable on the racket. Now we have a solid start point. And then from that, we release it. And what happens? We bring it up, we lift it up like this, okay? Now again, notice how it's almost like you're holding an ice cream cone. You're just lifting straight up. That is gonna allow you to just release the ball, okay? And those are some of the tips that I could give you on having a better service motion. Well guys, if you like that lesson, subscribe to my channel. It's right there. Hit the subscribe button. Get out there and practice a ton, and I'll see you on the next video.